Today on Startup Tips in 5 minutes or less, we're going to go over three strange human behaviors that can either sink your ship or help you to rise to new glory. So, we always talk about how to grow our startups here. This episode's going to be no different. But today we're going to talk about some of the stranger things that you can experience and maybe things that don't go quite the way you would think they would. So let's dive right into it. The very first one is that people remember beginnings and endings, but not so much middles. Now, let me start with a negative example. This is why an annual review only tempo is so bad for you, because you're likely to remember the goals that you set at the beginning of the year, and you're likely to have significant closeness bias to events that occurred towards the end of the year and forget the middle. And for that reason, doing employee reviews on an annual tempo, it's just too big a data set. It doesn't work. Let me give you a positive example of this, though. If you're in the services industry, or you have the type of product with a significant implementation that goes along with it, if you stick the landing and crush the ending, little road bumps along the middle are often forgotten. People will remember that you started strong. People remember that you ended the way they wanted you to, and they tend to forgive the center. So keep that in mind when you're starting a new project, when you're starting a new job, or when you're engaging a new client. Do everything in your power to crush the beginning and to stick the ending. I'm not suggesting you don't do a good job in the middle. I'm just sharing that a good beginning and a good ending go a long way to forgiving a rough patch. Second strange human behavior: silence equals trouble. When I was in the Marines, when I made sergeant, I worked for a gunnery sergeant who gave me the very first project where I was leading a group of young Marines. And he said to me, "Sergeant Kadori, if your Marines aren't complaining to you, that's not a good thing. Marines complain all the time. It's the nature of things. If they're not complaining to you, it's because they don't trust you." That lesson applies in the civilian world as well. As a leader, if you're not getting feedback from your team, that doesn't mean that they're happy. That means that they're not sharing. The second place where this is true is when you're dealing with clients. We often have the mistake, probably out of a desire to be happy and to sleep at night, that when a client isn't saying anything, it's because they're happy. After all, they're paying money. They would be very quick to raise their hand if there was a problem, wouldn't they? Not necessarily. Don't let silence surprise you into thinking things are going well. Engage with your teams, engage with your clients, and make sure that people are legitimately happy. Ask questions along the way. Don't get surprised at the end when a prized employee walks out the door with a list of problems that they had that you never were aware of, or when you ask that client for a referral or a testimonial and they look at you like you've got two heads and point out that you completed the job well enough, but certainly not well enough for praise or for any kind of a referral. So remember, silence equals trouble, not happiness. The third one is probably the biggest doozy. People resist change even when they want it. Now, what I'm referring to here isn't when they need it. We all know that if we need to lose 20 pounds and our health isn't a concern, that we have to make changes. That's not want, that's need. But even when they need it, people resist change. So because of that, you need to make sure that you're offering them the change that they're looking for, along with support, until the new thing becomes a habit that replaces the old thing. The best business example of this that comes to mind is a change management initiative. Very often companies will look to make some type of a change, not realize that it's truly a change management situation, and treat that scenario like an event instead of like the process that it is. So maybe you're bringing in a high-powered sales trainer to ramp up the success of your sales team. That's a change management initiative. You're looking for them to make changes in the way they execute their job. Maybe you are trying a new talent acquisition strategy. That's a change management initiative. You're altering the way you went to market to get candidates. In these circumstances, make sure that you're providing support throughout the whole process and communicating effectively so that your team knows what's going on, why it's going on, and how it's going to impact them. If you don't, expect some silence because they're not happy. Give them the support they need throughout that event until that new thing becomes a habit. Once again, even if it's something that they requested. Going back to that sales trainer example, your sales team might have been excited about this person coming. They might have picked the person that's coming. It might have been the result of a contest that you ran that this person is coming. But despite the desire to have them there, if you allow that one-off training event to stand on its own, within a month, those folks are going to be doing what they did, not what they just learned. So remember, change is a process, not an event, and it needs to be supported. Anyway, those are 3 strange human behaviors that can either sink your ship or help you rise to glory. I hope I got this done in under 5 minutes. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. And in the meantime, please make sure you like and subscribe if this is your type of content, the type of thing to help your startup, early stage business or small company to grow. And give a consider to going over destinationemployer.co and downloading for free the audio version of the first chapter of my book, Destination Employer.